Hey everybody, welcome back to the Christian Channel podcast. I'm your host, Austin Kelly, and today we got a really special guest with us, someone whose music truly tells stories that words can't. My guest today is Didier Recloux, a Belgian-born composer based in London. You probably heard his music in the BBC documentaries The Lost Child and The History of Africa, or from the latest album, Monsieur Le Nez and His Child, a powerful emotional score inspired by the novel by Philip Claudel. Didier music has this way of reaching straight to the hearts, connecting people across languages, culture, and time. Today, we're talking about his journey, his creative process, and the deeper purpose of behind the music. Didier, it's great to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Austin. It's really nice to be with you.
You grew up in Belgium in a real musical family. And I read on your website that your Polish grandmother introduced you to all kinds of sound, everything from classical to world music. What was that like growing up surrounded by so much culture and sound? And how did those early influences shape who you are as a composer today?
Yes, so most of my Polish side of the family, actually, I believe most of them could play an instrument. And I have those very fond memories of spending evening with them. And after the meal and a few vodkas, maybe someone would just grab a guitar or a violin, and then they would start playing traditional Polish music, and that would carry on until the end of the night. So it was there are lovely memories, and I'm really fond of those moments. Now, in terms of classical music, that was definitely my grandmother who introduced me to it. So my parents were working, and after school, I used to go to my grandmother and spend a lot of time with her. And she had this quite good record collection of light classical music, like Johann Strauss and some operetta. And so I really grew up surrounded by that sort of music. But also, she was a keen singer. So I remember like a couple of tracks that she used to sing all the time. And one of them was the theme from Dr. Zhivago. And that was, I didn't know it at that time. That was my first introduction to Maurice Jarre music. So it was that one that she really loved singing. And there was also, I think it was a French translation of a song that was featured in the movie Limelight.
Mm.
And it had been composed by Charlie Chaplin. And yes, I still love listening to those pieces today. For the rest, I would say in terms of world and international music, the area where I grew up in Belgium is sort of a melting pot of loads of different culture. So although on the radio you would hear a lot of French and English music, it's not uncommon that you would hear Italian artists, Spanish, Flemish, German, North African. So it was a really interesting place to grow up. So it gave me a lot of background on different type of musical styles.
Beautiful. You know, your first big break came with the BBC and Zinab Bandawi on The Lost Child and the History of Africa. How did that opportunity come about, and what was it like composing music that carried such a sense of history and emotion?
So I've known Zainab for quite a few years now, but when I first met her, she was mainly working in news. I think she was working for Channel 4 at that time, and then she moved on onto BBC World. And about 10 years ago, she created her own production company called Couche Communication. And she was about to start a project called The Lost Child. And basically, it's a true story about this little girl from Lagos who ended up. She was brought to England, and she ended up being the goddaughter of Queen Victoria. And Zainab was aware that I was a musician, and this is when she said to me, would you be interested to score this documentary? And that's how my collaboration with her started. Now, for the history of Africa, I think that goes back. I mean, it was a bit of a marathon that project. and we started in 2017. And I think at that time, Zainab had traveled to Paris to UNESCO. She usually takes part to lots of different talk, and UNESCO has created, I think they're up to 8 books now called The General History of Africa. She thought it was a wonderful idea to make film out of those books. And basically, the General History of Africa, it's the history of that continent, but told by African scholars and historians. And it's a way for them to reclaim their cultural identity. So for that particular program, I think Zainab traveled to about 30 different countries in Africa. And I had a bit of knowledge about North African music, but for the rest, I was completely oblivious to what sort of music you could find there. So it was a steep learning curve. But yeah, it was a fantastic experience, and that resulted in 20 episodes. It's now available on YouTube channel of BBC World, and it has been seen by millions of people. So I've learned an awful lot working with her, and I feel very blessed that I was offered this opportunity. It was a wonderful experience, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful coincidence and small world, and those great. Yeah, you sound so grateful for those opportunities. Do you think your faith had anything to do with it? I mean,
Well, to be honest, Austin, my fate is something quite new. This happened probably less than a year ago, so that has changed a lot the way I see work now. Um, Although the way I look back at it, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I was not aware of it, but God was providing some really good stuff for me, and I feel a bit embarrassed that I was not being aware of that. But yeah, all that has changed, and for the best.
that's beautiful. And maybe God's calling you to make some great musical content for the church and for Christian content in the near future. Who knows?
Well, I don't know where it's going to take me now. As I said, it's brand new, so yes, we'll see. I mean, I'm still sort of finding my way, but I'm very excited about it, and yeah, it's going to be a lifelong journey, I think.
It is for everybody.
Yes.
Now, your newest album, Monsieur Linné and His Child, is absolutely beautiful. It tells the story of a grandfather and his granddaughter escaping war and the love that survives through tragedy and hope. Before we dive into the story, we're going to play a short piece from the album. This is Sayings de Reville by Didier Recloux. Wow. Wow, that's just beautiful. You feel the tenderness and the pain in every note. What drew you to this story and what message or emotion were you hoping people would experience when they hear this music?
Well, thank you very much, Austin. I'm glad you enjoyed the music. Yeah, this is a book that was given to me a few years back. And I remember when I finished reading it, I said to myself, this is the kind of story I would love to write music for. I mean, I was so touched by that story. And that stayed in the back of my mind for many, many years. And then finally, a few years back, I just said, okay, let's do it. I want to work on this project. I mean, it's a it's a very quick read, but it's a wonderful story. It's full of pain and grief, friendship and courage, and it really pulls at your heart. What I was hoping to do with it is to communicate with the music the feelings that I felt while I was reading it. And the book has a very surprising twist towards the end, and that makes the story even more touching. So you then go back to the beginning of the book and you realize that not everything was as it seemed. And so I try to show that in the music. And when I was working on the theme for the two main characters, I was trying to convey a sense of fragility, but also strength, and try to indicate that they had to go through very difficult time in their life. So Monsieur Lin arrived in this new city and he's gonna meet this guy called Mr. Bog, who, even though they don't speak the same language, this sort of very strong friendship is going to grow between them. But both of them are quite broken. So Monsieur Lin is an elderly, frail man who just lost most of his family. The only thing left he has is his granddaughter. And Mr. Bark on the other side is someone who just lost his wife, and he's also a veteran, and he has been deeply scarred by what he has seen and what he has done during the war. So there was a lot of material there in order to explore different feeling and emotion within the music. It was extremely rich and really interesting to work on that project.
Yeah, you just said it. This type of music just really hits you where, words just can't describe. And that really resonates with me. For you personally, what's one piece of music, maybe from your childhood or your career, that still moves you every time you hear it?
Well, I mean, there's many of them. One that I remember very vividly actually came from a TV series that was broadcast when I was a kid. And it was actually the music to a series by Zeffirelli, Jesus of Nazareth. And that again was the music of Maurice Jarre. And apart from the main actor having this sort of very serene and otherworldly look on his face, that I think I was a bit scared of him when I was a kid. But the music was so strong and powerful and stirring. And I thought the way it combines with the images, it was almost magical. And I think it was perfect to illustrate the life of Jesus. And I remember a bit later when I was in London, I actually find the CD with the soundtrack of that film. And there is a particular track where the actor is actually saying the Sermon on the Mount, and that combined with the music always give me goosebumps. So it's a score that I really recommend if anyone is interested in film music. It's not. I suppose now it's easier to find with Spotify and YouTube, but yeah, it's a wonderful score. I really love it.
Now that you mention it, you do have that sound. If you watch Jesus of Nazareth by Zeffirelli and Ennio Morricone, Ennio Morricone, that kind of resonates with your sound. It's very cinematic, and it's interesting to hear that one piece, that movie influenced you. Did that movie influence you to become a composer, like in the film world and TV world?
I don't think at that time I was thinking of being a composer, but even though I saw that series a long, long time ago, I think I must have been maybe 9 or 10 years old. I always remember the main theme. I think because it was so, as I said, really strong and almost scary at time, and it really stayed with me. And I must have seen that series maybe a couple of times in my life, but I always remember the music. So it had a huge impact on me, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And just I want our audience to know that, we just finished a film called Knights of the Cross, and one thing that really brings the movie to life is music. I mean, Didier is a good example. Music has a way of piercing the heart of the audience members because, you know, just like Jesus of Nazareth, kind of like it was such a powerful, great story, but also the music that had a really big impact in your life. I'm just want our audience to know film scoring and music, it is an absolute game changer. You know, when you think of Star Wars, you think of, you know, the film score. When you think of, you know, the good, bad, the ugly, you think Ennio Morricone. Dieter, I'm extremely blessed to have you here because, you know, music, you know, like Hans Zimmerman and all those great film score guys, they really bring the movie to life. Without Hans Zimmer, I don't think any of those movies would sound as good.
Yeah, I don't think Gladiator would be the same
I don't think
movie
so.
without
I
this
don't.
without the soundtrack. Yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
so.
it is
And,
amazing. Yeah.
and, and finally, Didier, for young composers, filmmakers, or anyone listening who dreams of telling stories through music, what advice would you give them? What's the one thing they should focus on if they want their music to truly connect with people?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm the right person to give advice. Um, what I think is, I would say, just do it. Don't wait for the big opportunity to come and knock at your door because you never know when something will come. And I think if you find something that inspire you, it could be a book like with Monsieur and his child. It could be a painting. It could be, I don't know, a story in a newspaper. I think anything that sort of resonate with you and call you, I think you will, if you really feel it, I think you will be able to translate it into music. I know for me that having the support of an image or the book really helped, find the right mood for the character and the tone of the music. So yes, I think anyone would like to do that is to find something that really stirs into them, a feeling of like, yeah, I can do this and I want to put this into music. I think that's the only thing I can advise them to do. And also maybe to remember that if you have that call, that you're probably not alone and there's someone else there that can support you in your journey. And yeah, to be thankful for that as well.
Great attitude with gratitude. I love it, Dieter. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, for people who want to hear more of your work, where can they find you online and follow your latest projects?
That would be on my website. That's didierrecloux.com. And yes, all the link to my social media is there, and then I have my YouTube channel as well. So everything is available on the website, and whenever there's something new happening, it will be posted there.
Awesome. Dieter, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such an honor having you on. Your story reminds us that music isn't just sound, it's emotion, memory, and connection. For everyone listening, make sure to check out Didier's YouTube channel at Didier Recloux and stream his new album, Monsieur Lenné and His Child, available now on major platforms. I'm Austin Kelly, and this has been the Christian Child Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, faith, beauty, and creativity always go hand in hand. God bless you, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you very much, Justin. God bless you.